Do you have a family, responsibility, bills to pay, or people genuinely rely on you, but you're looking for improve your career? And going back to full-time education is just not an option because you need to keep earning. I might have a solution for you, and it's apprenticeship. And before you stop that video because you don't imagine yourself as a stereotype of construction worker, this can end up of being possibly your own boss or even with the nice cushy office job down the line. So hear me up on this one. Year ago, I used to work in the restaurant business, and what bothered me the most on all that is that I feel so much time is slipping between my fingers. I don't make as much money as I want to as well, but the deep real reality for me was I miss the nights with my family, I miss the weekends out with my family, and I miss so much things what should be considered family life. But I know I cannot go back to full-time education as I'm the only one provider for my family and I need to keep earning. And then I find about apprenticeship, and it absolutely blew my mind how far ahead I can go with this one. Apprenticeship is how to learn to be skilled trade person in certain trade, and the big advantage compared to normal education system on this is in countries like Ireland, England, US, Canada, New Zealand and Australia and many other Western countries is you earn once you learn. So you have school phases and on-the-job phases. So you work for your employer, you're learning the trade, and then you go to school phases when you as well learn your trade once you get paid. And I know even if you get paid, first few years is usually half of apprenticeship, it's terrible pay. But still, don't think about it as a punishment, but think about as an investment. Even the money will be hard and maybe you will have to borrow or sort out your situation elsewhere or create the savings before you enter apprenticeship. After first 2 years of misery, the next 2 years you start earning way more than the normal entry-level job, which I find hilarious. And I know many of you might think about, yes, but I changed my career, let's say in whatever industry you're in, and I become a construction worker, right? So what's the point of it? Like, I still be working hard, it still be same hustle, but let me stop you here because this thing have way more potential as you think. And after you finish your apprenticeship, I see two huge career paths which make you earn and progress in your future. This is the crazy part because as you progress through your apprenticeship, you obviously be working on the sites. Once you start with your apprenticeship and you start going to construction site, speaking with the foreman, speaking with the bit builder and make a little bit of your networking, you can start thinking about it this way. Once you finish your apprenticeship, you hold official paper in your head that you are a qualified tradesperson. And it's crazy that you can take that paper and start your own business. Maybe you get along with the foreman, with some builder, and he drop you some small job. After first small job, you get a bigger job, and that's how you build your reputation. And it doesn't even have to end up here. But possible way down the line is that you start getting bigger jobs, you start hiring employees, and who knows, 10 years down the line you might end up with your own huge company which have insane turnover, because we all know in the construction business is very high profit margins in some specters of it, and there is money to be made. Until people be people, we always need to build and maintain infrastructure to live in. So if you are a little bit chatty person, if you like a bit of psychology, you see the connection, you see the workplace for what it is, you can slowly start to sell yourself and start developing connection. You never know if it's not good to know that foreman or that huge builder. Maybe he can drop you a job in the future and start building your reputation. You know, I highly encourage you, if you choose to go this way, to choose the one of the trades which you not might have love on the first sight, but you must have at least good potential and you actively try to improve and be good at it. Because if this happens, people might see you, they notice you, and you might start getting your little job here, little job there, and who knows, as I say, down the line you might end up with multi-million company. This one is actually crazy because you can end up with university degree. And I know, in fact, for Ireland, if you choose go that way and you finish your apprenticeship as an electrician, you can work as an electrician and you can do school meanwhile, night school or whatever it's called. And many times, check your country, I don't know if that's the case in your country, But I know in Ireland many times they might drop the first year of your university down. So instead of doing 3 or 4 years, you're doing just 2 or 3. So you save that 1 year, and I know it's not the fastest path. If you can afford to stay with your parents and jump directly into university, that might be even better. But I'm speaking for people which genuinely can't afford to stop earning because they have other people rely on them. And with that way down the path, let's say if you are a carpenter, you can end up in a structural engineering. As a plumber, you can go choose for engineering. As a car mechanic, you can end up in the car engineering. And as an electrician, I believe the specter is really big. Very soon will be more things electric than just your silly dildo. And we all need electricians. We all need people for build the infrastructure. You can specify for solar. You can specify for automation. You can specify on doing houses. You can specify on doing commercial buildings. There is just so huge aspect when you can go and earn the next qualification. Meanwhile, you work in a construction, study the university degree, and you might end up in a cushy, lovely office job down the way. I have a bit crazy thought about this, but hear me up on that. So, what happens first when get economy downturn, recession, or just money be tight? What most people do, they stop going to a restaurant, stop drinking out, stop buying silly shit you don't need. But if your boiler break in the middle of winter and you don't have skills for fix it, you are absolutely forced to call tradesperson to fix it. If your electricity went off, you have to call tradesperson. And beside this, it's the huge thing that I believe as the world progress, many and many other things might be done by AI. But I truly don't believe in our lifespan that AI will manage to fully replace the tradespeople. I don't see AI go under the sink and change the stuck sink. I don't see AI putting cables in the house, and I definitely don't see AI. And even you see that AI might start be used in the 3D printed houses, you know, that funny thing with the concrete go around. Now start showing that happens crack, that building is not as appropriate if the human put the brick on the brick. So I believe that AI is definitely not gonna replace tradespeople in our lifespan. And as well as engineering progress, as our time progress, and we as a humans, we make a huge step in last 100 years. We all live in the nice buildings. There is roads, there is great infrastructure, bridges. There is so many things would make our life easier and we don't even realize. Almost everyone have a car these days. You have air conditioning in the car, which is crazy if you think about it from perspective of 100 years ago. And all these infrastructure need to be built and need to be maintained by humans. I know that in some maybe engineering degree, they might be AI doing jobs here and AI doing jobs there, but I truly don't believe that AI is take tradespeople job in our lifespan. That's just not gonna happen. Somebody need to put brick on top of the brick. So if you are now in a similar situation as I was a year ago and you need to keep earning, but you have that unsettling itch that you have to progress your life, you wanna make more money, or maybe you wanna change career for whatever other option, I truly believe that consider apprenticeship is the great thing. But what I highly encourage you to choose not apprenticeship which is higher paid or whatever you might think about it, but choose apprenticeship which you are good at. If you are really good with geometry, work with the wood, go for carpenter. If you understand the physics really good and you enjoy playing with the cables, electrician might be for you, they might be plumber for you. And I think personally the most underrated, at least in Ireland, will be the car mechanics. Because cars getting just more and more complex, and I see from what I make research from all the pays of the apprentices, the car mechanic is the lowest. So there is very little people joining the trade, and I think in the future this create very huge gap in the market and car mechanics will earn fortune down the line. I know it's hard job, I personally have big respect for car mechanics, I have big respect for plumbers, and I know I choose the easiest trade here, but if you little bit more sturdy or you just less pussy than I am and you really like cars, go for car mechanic. You like work with wood, carpenter might be for you. Maybe some people will like to do bathrooms, you know. And I think is that one more thing which many people don't talk about it. If you're really passionate for what you're doing and you really like what you're doing and you think a little bit as I think that every job you do is your signature and you might building your brand even before it become a real brand, I believe you're gonna end up successful down the line. Because if you have a passion and you build something which other people use the infrastructure which you create, and I believe that some crazy internal satisfaction going on when you know you build the infrastructure which other people use or even rely on. That's, I think, just great feeling. You feel like you being useful in this planet. So I now hope so I managed to offer you maybe a bit different perspective about apprenticeship, and there is not just being a construction worker, but there is many other pathways how you can end up. And if you have any thoughts or idea, write me them in the comment below. I'd be delighted to read them. Like, share and subscribe, and most importantly, share it for some person if is in struggle and looking for change the career. This might be the secret option for them, which might end up changing their life. I hope so they will. So thank you so much guys for watching, and see you with the next one.